It's the end of the year. You maybe are feeling amazing about your year, or maybe you're feeling about your past year. You know what? You've had amazing ups and downs, and they have all led you to here. But in Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl fashion, what are we already focused on? Next year. So you already have so much you want to achieve. And honestly, how the fuck are you going to get it all done? This time of year is a great time to pull back, take perspective, lay it all out, and see how you can make it all happen.
So you want to be an it girl?
Welcome back to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. I am your host, Marley Freygang, and I'm here to help you filter out all the bullshit and become the next it girl, if you will. Today, we're talking about goal setting, planning out your next year. So one thing I have recently adapted a lot to is the idea of setting a 30-day goal, a 90-day goal, and a 6-month goal. And you can kind of put a goal or thing in top focus for that amount of time without maybe neglecting the other goals you have at the same time. So I just want to give that background before we get into this episode. Another thing I want to give background on is give yourself more time to complete a task than you think it's going to take. Shit always hits the fan. You get an audition, family members get sick, you get an amazing opportunity to go on a vacation. Shit always comes up. So plan to give yourself always some extra time, or, plan in extra time, or just know it might take a little bit longer. Just something else I wanted to just set up before we get into this episode. So how I have been tackling planning for my next year is I write absolutely everything out that I want to achieve in a year on a piece of paper. And right now it's currently sitting next to my desk. And every time I think of something that I want to achieve this year, I write it on the list. This is not an organized list. There is no method. It's just, that comes to mind. I want to go on vacation. I want to save X amount of dollars. That goes on the list. I want to produce X film. I want to do this with the podcast, blah, blah, blah. That all goes on my favorite word, brain scramble list. And you just spew it out. It will come to you as you're getting out of the shower. It will come to you as you're falling asleep or when you're restless. Add it to the list. All the things you want to accomplish. I literally mean all the things. We're talking career. We're talking personal. We're talking travel. We're talking literally anything that comes to mind that's important to you to get to the next year. Next, after you've kind of feel like you've kind of scrambled everything out of your brain, we are going to divide that brain scramble into categories. So you can do play, vacation, hobby, financial. For me, mine looks something like podcast, acting, personal life, work/money, play/fun, TBA, shit hit the fan category. Yes, I literally am adding that in this year. It's an idea that I've slowly adapted to, but I think it's very important to add in a shit hit the fan type moment, or allowing the extra space. That's something I got better at this past year, was adding in extra space for things to take, whatnot. So you're going to categorize them and realize kind of what is linked to what, or what assists what, or if, for instance, work and financials kind of go next to my life category, and my podcast and my acting category, they kind of go next to each other because it kind of fills the same flow state of what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking of those things. So for instance, for podcasts, I obviously want to continue creating more. I want to make more content. I want to be way more ahead in my episodes. And acting, I want to, start really fostering relationships. These are things that are going in my categories. And then for work and money, I want to save X amount of dollars for a vacation I'm planning to do. And then also I have play/fun, which is also something I have to kind of financially plan for. Those are things like Coachella or a Vegas trip, or, if you have an upcoming wedding, which I know we're kind of all getting to that ages where we have to financially and time plan for our friends to get married. So those are kind of some of the things that would go into each category. So you've scrambled your brain of all the things you want to do. You've categorized them. Next, you're going to pull out your digital planner, your physical planner, your mix of the two if you're Marley, because I can't convert to a digital planner completely yet, even though I think I might be. And you're going to kind of really start to look at what are busy months for you. So for instance, typically for me, my birthday is in the first week of November. I really take Halloween a little too seriously. Those 2 weeks are bad for me. So now I know September, end of September, early October are times I really need to be work focused so I can be play focused there. That's what I'm talking about. This time of year, it is also super good to check in with relatives, family, relationships, friends about any upcoming trips that you're going to have and get soft dates for them so you can start to plan the other shit around them. So like at this point, I always ask my mom, are we taking a family vacation? When do you think it will be? And I mark it in my calendar so that I can already start pre-planning for it. So ask your people. And then I also recommend dividing the year in either seasons or semesters. Semesters is easier because a lot of us went to school and we all understand the fall and spring semesters. However, I'm kind of switching to going by spring, winter, fall, summer, because I would like to have something be a focus for a shorter amount of time, but it be the focus. So that's why I've kind of switched to seasons. And then for those seasons or semesters, you're going to pick something that is top priority. Right now, I am in a season of making the podcast my top priority. But then maybe the next season, I'm going to pick acting. And then the next season, it's going to be maybe financial and personal life, whatnot. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm not neglecting other things. I just kind of start to lay out what is the focus at that time. And you go back to your now beautifully organized category of a brain scramble. And you see what times are going to be the best for you to be focused on what. And I will literally mark in my calendar with a different color, acting focus, podcast focus, work focus, whatnot. And I will do these in either 30-day sprints, 90-day sprints, or a 6-month sprint. Step 4, you're going to get fucking micro with it. So after you've kind of done this general layout of this is when I'm going to be going on trips, this is when I'm going to be focused on what, blah, blah, blah. You have a light idea of what your year is going to be. We're going to get micro. Micro things are, what days do you do the same things repeatedly? For instance, right before we recorded these podcasts, I was talking to Eric about what days work for him to record the podcast. So we always know for the most part, Thursdays are our day we get together and record the podcast. You could do the same with, the meeting you have at work, or, financial check-in with yourself on, you do it every third day of the month, whatnot. Pick some things that you can keep to be micro, that you always do XYZ on those dates. For me, it's also around the 6th or 7th, I always send an update to my agent. These are the things you need to get micro with. So you just routinely stick to them and know you're working towards those goals. And then my favorite, the catastrophizer in me really comes out in this. Step 5, what can you get ahead of now? So for instance, something people hate to do is their fucking taxes. Okay, what can you organize now to make your taxes easier? Maybe it's pulling all your pay stubs. Maybe it's checking to see what did take out taxes and what didn't. Maybe it's just getting copies of your I-9s or whatnot. What can you get ahead of now? So another thing for me that I'm going to get ahead on is recording the podcast. I want to be able to batch it so I can have matching content and whatnot. That's something I'm going to take the time to get ahead on. Another thing I'm going to get ahead on in this time is I'm in an acting class where we have to pull our own material. And I have a list written down of shows, and plays that I think have good material. So you know what I'm going to do in this time? I'm going to get all the material ready, put it all in the folder. So for the rest of the 6 months or year I'm in this class, I will already have material ready. So I don't have to take time out of my week to do that. See, you're setting yourself up with like getting any little things you can off your plate. And to wrap this up, we're going to go through the steps one more time. First, you're going to write everything out in a brain scramble, everything. Then you're going to divide them into categories as step 2. Step 3, get your planner out and plan out what seasons are what. 4, you're going to get fucking micro with it. You're going to set things up so that you know what routine things happen at what times, and so you can try to stick to them. Step 5, figure out what you can get ahead of now. Those are the steps. At this point, I would like to remind yourself, don't get married to these things. Shit's going to happen. These are just somewhat systems and routines that we can try to set so we can achieve our goals 95% of the time. Because 5% of time is life. Other opportunities come up, other things happen, and we have to take them. So please don't get too married to these things. You know what? If you get the opportunity to go on a world cruise on the month that you said you were going to be work focused, for the love of God, go on the world cruise. Don't stay to like work. So don't get too married to them. Don't beat yourself up if this process takes all of January and December to set yourself up. It's fine. Take as much time as you need to get yourself set up correctly for your next year. And 3, keep just a sheet by your desk that you can just brain scramble all the things you want to accomplish. And also understand that maybe in that brain scramble list, there are going to be things that just can't happen this year. Because when you really look at your year, you have to see how much you're really taking on. Is it too much? And that is powerful because you don't want to do anything bad. You'd rather do less things well. And if this episode was helpful to you, I also recommend checking out episode 97, Basics Bitches Guide to Squeeze an Extra Time When You Plan Poorly, because that they kind of like have some shared energy to help you get set up for the new year.
So you want to be an it girl?
Guys, thank you so much for listening. We will see you next Tuesday. And then after that, we will be taking a break till January. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the show.